Hi, welcome to The Spiritual View, a community interested in creating a supportive space for people wanting to explore, validate, and honor our natural psychic and healing abilities. I'm Karleen. I'm an acupuncturist and an herbalist.
I'm Bisma. I'm an intuitive coach, a Reiki energy healer, and a doula.
I'm Christina, and I'm a spiritual medium.
I'm Christine. I practice hypnotherapy, and I'm a Reiki practitioner.
So, we'd like to start off this video discussion with an energy report. Kind of wanted to touch on the last couple weeks. There's a lot of energy going on with the full moon and the eclipse. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening with us internally. Now that the Mercury retrograde is over, we all really were affected by that. I don't know about you, but it was really intense. So now that we can get past that, and we're feeling a little bit better now that that's over, just want to talk about the eclipse's energy. And the eclipse's energy, it was meant to help us rest and just kind of plant some seeds for the future. But it also kind of left us feeling a little bit zapped energetically. So this week's full moon, that was on September 6th, the harvest moon, it had a noticeably different shift in energy as well. And that energy moved from the fire sign, which is really fiery and hot and fierce, to the Pisces, watery, tranquil, dreamy energy. So that left us feeling a lot calmer and a lot more present. And I mean, personally for me I definitely felt that shift.
Yeah.
So the seeds that were planted during the eclipse brought about a deeper understanding of our true intentions and illuminated what's guiding our lives. So the full moon brought about a psychic energy release, and it will help us cleanse a lot of energy, stuck energy, and just kind of illuminate the path going forward. We're able to kind of translate all those seeds and information and little tidbits of knowledge into useful things that we can use for our growth and development in the following weeks to come. So yeah, that's our little energy forecast. Wanted to kind of touch on all those major energetic shifts. And then upcoming, it's really just going to be about sorting through the information that we gathered from the last few weeks. It's just going to kind of be about grounding ourselves and getting in touch with the stuff that we need to sort out, what works for us, what doesn't work for us, so we can begin to finish up all the details of what's going to personally come up for us.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. And so going into what we're going to be speaking of today, just for a little general description, there are several psychic senses, but the most prominent ones are claircognizance, which is a clear knowing, clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, clairaudience, which is clear hearing, and then clairsentience, which is clear feeling, and that's actually the sense we're going to talk about today, which is clairsentience again.
Yeah, so just a brief description to summarize clairsentience. It's the psychic sense that's actually held in our second chakra, and it's a feeling sense. So it's our way of feeling energy around us, and it's our way of feeling things out. You may have heard some of the popular terms like trust your gut, what's your gut feeling, what's your gut instinct. That's all related to how we feel things out in the world. We can feel out other people's energy. We can feel out events, different events that may be coming up. We can feel out the energy of that. We can feel out the energy of a location even. There's lots of different ways of using it, and it's a really fascinating topic to talk about. And there's many people that consider themselves empathic, and they call themselves, they're like an empath. And what that is really just a heightened awareness of this clairsentience, psychic sense. It's just enhanced for some people. but everyone has this ability to a different degree. It's just the level of awareness and or a level of practicing of it that, you know, is different from person to person.
Right. Agreed.
Do you have anybody have any experiences they want to share?
Clairsentience. I know for me personally, clairsentience is one of my more developed senses. And it can definitely be overwhelming at times, and I'm really learning how to recognize what my energy is compared to somebody else's energy that I might pass or be on the phone having a conversation with, or it's just I'm learning how to take a second to just be present and recognize it, and then to release it, because it can be very overwhelming.
Right.
It can really get you into a headspace that can be very
Like difficult to navigate.
Yeah.
It's just difficult to understand even like what am I feeling? What am I going through? Is this me? Is this that person? How do I just deal with it kind of?
Yep. So that's for me personally. I deal with it on a regular basis, dealing with my children when they have tantrums. You know, like I want to have a tantrum too, you know, and it's just I feel out everybody that I come into contact with. So it's used on a regular basis for me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I deal with it every day, and especially in large gatherings, I'll go into a room and I'll just feel everything. And it's kind of just understanding what's mine, what's yours, how to just like really get into your own space and own your own space too as well. But yeah.
How about you, Christine?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is just my most recent experience of feeling someone else's energy, so much so that the people I was with noticed. I was just taking a walk at the park with some students I was taking a class with. We were on lunch break, and this very strange, shifty character started to walk towards us on the path, and I was on the outside of two other people, and he was walking this way, so he was about to cross my path and walk past me. And well, first thing I noticed was his body language was kind of strange, right? He's kind of walking, like hobbling and not making eye contact, looking at the ground, which is, you know, body language. But as soon as he passed me, I just felt this icky sense. And the only thing I can describe it as is like the creeper vibe that women often feel, you know. There's something about the creeper vibe. It is a real thing. You could just like almost look at somebody and just feel like if they have that vibe or not.
Right.
And this guy walked past, and I just felt like totally immersed in his creepiness. And I totally stopped me mid-sentence. I was talking to these people, and they looked at me like, what's going on? And I said, that guy just walked by, and he felt really creepy. And I was with one guy and one woman, and she's like, I thought that too. And we kind of looked back, and he's walking away, and we noticed he has like this little girl's pink backpack on, you know, and this like full-grown man. The whole situation was just weird, but that was a really good example of how I wasn't really open to like trying to feel energy around me, but it was unavoidable when this guy walked past me. Just the way he felt was overwhelming to me. Most of the time, I'm not wide open to feel energies around me, but sometimes people just carry such a strong vibe with them that it's inevitable to feel it. Another example is like if you're having a super good day, you're singing out loud in your car, and people are looking at you funny and laughing at you, and then you go to the grocery store, like Costco, and all of a sudden it's a different energy. Everyone's in a hurry, no one's looking at each other, everyone is just like focused on what they need, they're bumping into your elbows. It's like I can't handle being around all that energy because it just feels intense. It feels really intense. Everyone is just so focused and so in a hurry, and there's this huge disconnection between people personally. I just want to get in and out too, because I go in there and it's just like, it's hard to be in that energy. And that's totally that psychic sense. It's just feeling what the space feels like, right?
That's really interesting. That just made me think about like cities and how different cities have different energy levels.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you go into a big city, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of stuff going on there, and and you can kind of thrive in that, or it could be overwhelming and just like tire you out depending on how your own energy runs at. So
Right. Oh, totally.
Yeah. So like you said before, Christine, we all have the ability to feel energy around us, right? So like you said, gut feelings is another term that people carry around. Oh, I had a gut feeling this wasn't a good situation, this wasn't a good party to go to, that kind of thing. Or another way that they sometimes talk about clairsentience is trusting your instincts, your natural instincts, mothering instincts. Just being sensitive, intuitive, those are all words that would encompass clairsentience.
Yeah, feeling it out,
Yeah.
checking the
Checking
vibe.
the vibe.
Those are all
of the
related to
energy.
reading energy.
Yeah.
They even talk about it in school when you take a test. Trust your gut. What answer first popped in your mind? So it's kind of like just it's the same thing. It's just another way of representing.
And actually, like science is showing that we actually have more neurons in our gut system than we do anywhere in our brain or the rest of our body. And the system of our gut is so complex. We're just beginning to tap the surface to understand it. And it's the most sensitive area to toxins and to stress and to hormones. So if you start to feel happy, you might feel the butterflies in your stomach. If you start to feel sad, you may start to feel a sinking feeling in your gut. If you start to feel nervous, you might start to feel, stomach up in your throat feeling. All of those are that gut feeling. And it's like our emotions actually have a feeling in our body. And the more you become in tune and aware of this sense, the more you can really nail down how you're feeling when you might feel separated from where you're at. And also the more you can recognize when you're starting to feel other people's stuff, which is probably the number one thing that empaths struggle with, is feeling overwhelmed by other people's energy. And a very common way of handling that is to just avoid those kind of situations.
Oh, I do that all the time. Yeah, I just stay away from large crowds and big gatherings because I just feel it's overwhelming. But I don't think that I feel things all the time, because if I, for the most part, maybe it's because I avoid all those places and things that I would feel uncomfortable in.
Yeah.
That I don't have these experiences as much. But how do you guys avoid it or deal with it?
I do a lot of the same stuff. I definitely don't enjoy going to concerts very much anymore. Definitely. I do a lot of avoidance as well. But like I said earlier, I'm really learning how to identify my own energy. And so I have to kind of practice that too. So I have to put myself in situations where I might not always be the most comfortable, but it's a learning experience for me, So I put myself in those situations so I can practice really just feeling everything out, identifying everything, sorting it out, and just kind of being in the power of it. Because I think as much as I would like to avoid situations like that, at the same time I personally feel like if I am constantly avoiding it, then I'm not really like holding my space the way that I'd like to hold my space, like I don't want to go out in the world and not be able to do the things that I might once enjoyed. And so I need to learn how to be in those situations and take care of myself. But I definitely avoid. And then I do a lot of grounding, and I do a lot of different techniques that we'll discuss later that we can try, and that I try and just prepare myself for an everyday experience.
So when you say grounding, do you mean like lying on the ground?
No, not lying on the ground. Grounding is something super easy that everybody can do. It's just where you envision cosmic light coming through your crown chakra and down all of your chakras through your root chakra, and it goes down into the center of the earth, and it just keeps you grounded. And so it just kind of helps things that happen to you not stick to you, you know, and
So is this like visualization that you're doing?
yeah, it's definitely using your imagination for sure. It sounds a little weird, but it's super easy to do, and as soon as you think of doing it, it's done. You don't really have to do much. So it's definitely using your imagination and just and believing in the power of it too, because it's super, super powerful. You can definitely tell when you're grounded and when you're not grounded. So yeah, we do a lot of that.
Same here. I ground, I just clear the area, clear my mind, just kind of come back. Like if I go to a party or if I go to a big, large gathering, and when I come back home, I'll just give myself a few minutes to just sit, know what I'm feeling, and then just kind of doing the grounding cord, and then just letting it go, kind of just knowing that this is not me. Even the understanding, even the knowing that, okay, this is just not me, that helps you be in your power, that helps you know, like, this isn't me. So then letting it go, and then I kind of do something that's completely unrelated. So I'll, watch a cooking show, or I'll go do something else to kind of get out of my mind, and then it just brings me back to me. So
Do you ever find that your mind is like in constant like opposition to what you're feeling? Do you ever have that? Because I feel like, well, I had an experience once where my husband and I put in an offer on a house, and of course we've been looking for a long time, so we're kind of anticipating getting it. When I got the call that we didn't get the house, unfortunately, it was kind of unexplainable, because you want it to go through, and I felt a sense of relief. And then later on we ended up getting another house, which I think was meant to be, because the other one, it had a lot of other issues. So it was kind of like a knowing from another higher perspective, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? But it was a really odd feeling, because my mind was telling me I should be feeling sad and upset, and yet my feeling was, whew, we dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
That's intuition.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
seriously intuition.
So I was just gonna say, I do avoid. I totally didn't think I avoided. I don't have TV. I don't have news. I don't read newspapers, because I just. It's not that I don't care about what's going on in the world, but it's so overly negative that I just find myself in a really negative place after seeing the news or after reading about the news. And I really, really can't handle the energy around politics, especially right now. And so I guess I avoid it. I wouldn't call it avoidance. It's just a disinterest. I'm not interested in it. It's not a disconnect from caring about it. It's just that I'm not going to engage in the negative, programming that goes on around with the media about what's going on in the world, because I like to focus on more of the positive that's going on. And so I guess in a way I do avoidance too, because it's just, I can't handle watching the news.
I think
feel it.
You make a really great point, because each one of us has a choice and kind of like the power to say, what kind of energy do I want to bring into my world or my surroundings? And if you're tuning into the same like negative stuff that's going on in the world everywhere else, you're kind of like upset and sad just like everybody else.
Which isn't solving the problem.
No, it's not very helpful.
And I think that a lot of the news is like, it feeds into people's fear, and when you live out of fear, it really limits your life and the happiness you feel. And it's, I just feel a lot better when I'm not watching the news.
So how do you guys feel when you're in a big gathering that is of like people who are into spirituality or into like similar interests as you, like energy healing or mediumship? So how do you feel in those situations?
It's interesting, because obviously there's a huge difference. Like if you were to go to a concert where people are drunk or under the influence of something, like huge difference in energy compared to going to a mediumship circle where everybody is, like relaxed and just loves to be around the people that are in the room, and they're open and open-minded. But on the flip side of that, when you're in a space like that, personally for me, I'm more opened physically in every sense. And so I start to pick up on loved ones that have passed away and other energies that are following the people around that are in the room with me. So it goes both ways, but I definitely enjoy being around people who are like-minded or open-minded, because you just have such a deeper conversation, a deeper connection to just life, you know, in general. It's not a lot of superficial stuff.
Did you hear about Trump?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to hear that anymore. I'm done with that.
Yeah,
Just
so
the
it's
easy.
just it's nice to be around just a calmer energy. You definitely feel that difference for sure.
Right, and you can be real, and if you're not feeling good, you can say that in another. You can say it in a way like, I'm just picking up on this, or I'm picking up on that, where you may not always feel comfortable to say that in like a setting
To your
where-
boss.
Yeah, to your boss or at work. But yeah, it's just more comfortable, you know, in that aspect, especially.
I feel lucky enough that I have friends and family that are really supportive of everything that's been going on with my spiritual awakening the last few years. So in those situations where I am in a place where I'm uncomfortable because there's something going on, you know, I'm able to say, I need to step outside, you know, like, and I need to get some fresh air because it's uncomfortable in here for me, you know, and they're very supportive about it. So thanks, guys. Yeah. So,
That's really great.
yeah, it's really important that you surround yourself with people who understand where you're coming from. And even if they don't understand, that they're open to it and they just respect it. That's huge. That's really huge, and just validating, you know, like what we're all feeling on a regular basis.
I also feel like if you're surrounding yourself with people who are very sensitive, it kind of heightens everybody else's ability to.
Mhm.
By
Definitely.
notice that?
Because it's, you know, if one person is vibrating at a higher level, meaning they're open and they're feeling really good, or they just meditated and they're in the receiving mode, that inevitably everyone feels everyone's energy, whether you're aware of it or not. Other people will slightly gravitate to that. And that is also why news and stressful situations or stressful places, or places where the energy is lower, even if you're up here, you will inevitably be pulled down because you're surrounded by the majority energy being lower than that.
Right.
So it's good to be around a lot of people that have like just meditated and are calm and are centered in who they are, and they're not in denser energies of emotions.
Can you imagine if this like became a global perspective? Can you imagine what people could accomplish? Like and just how the energy would shift in general, like with everything. It would just be so amazing. And I definitely feel like this has been becoming more of an awakening on just like a higher level across the globe. Like as people are becoming more in tune with themselves.
Yeah.
You know, even if they don't know what to call it, you know, like they just know that they're feeling something, and it might not feel good or it feels great or whatever it is, and they're becoming more sensitive and they're becoming more aware, and in general that's going to create a huge shift in energy like across the world if people continue to practice that.
I want to speak on top of that because I feel like a lot of people are becoming more sensitive to other energies around them, so they're being more impacted, but not necessarily more aware. And so there's like a fine line with this kind of sensing of people that suddenly may walk into a store and feel bad, and they're not aware of the psychic sense and how it works, and so they immediately claim it as their own. And then they carry that for the rest of the day, when really it was just the feeling of the space they were in or a person they were around.
Right.
So I feel like it's really important to educate, you know, the population about the energy exchange that happens between people and relationships, and how it's important to identify when you're feeling something for someone else. That's meant to be a helpful tool in relating to someone on a deeper level, and it's not meant to be something that we are unaware of and thinking is our own and then carrying it for the rest of the day. It can be draining in our emotion. You know, there's like chronic fatigue syndrome out there. I really think that is a huge problem with people taking on other people's energy and giving out their energy. And so one of the tools I was going to say about how to manage this feeling of energy around you is you can do a little exercise or visualization as well as the grounding, like roots in the ground, and pulling energy through your body, but also pulling your energy in. Like people walk around sometimes with their energy like expanded.
You're describing it. This would be also your aura.
Yeah.
People know it as their aura.
Like your energetic field. And you can almost tell if someone's open or closed just by their body language, you know. If someone's sitting in a chair and their knees are spread apart and their arms are like this, they're like wide open. Their aura's probably like super huge. If they have their legs crossed and their arms like this and they're making them really small, they probably have their energy pulled in. But you don't have to carry your body any differently to carry your energy differently. You can just claim your energy closer to you so that it's not feeling everything around you. You can really hold your space to yourself and carry yourself however you want in your body. It's just that we intuitively know that when we move our body in a certain way, that actually will pull the energy in. So people do this inevitably not knowing that that's what they're doing, but that is what they're doing. They're basically saying, I don't want to interact with these people's energy, I'm going to pull in like this. And this is also saying, you know, don't talk to me. And people that hear themselves really large is like, ask me a question, I want to engage with you. Their energy's out there and they're feeling out everybody. So it's interesting to look at like the psychology of how people carry themselves and the energy they project. Yeah.
I feel like a way that, I don't know, for you, I'm sure it's probably the same, but in the mornings, like if you're not sure what your energy even feels like, you know, first thing when you wake up in the morning and you're lying in bed, just check your body, check yourself. Does my knee hurt today? No, everything feels great, you know, like how's my mind? Am I nervous about anything today? Do I have a test today? Do I, you know, whatever it is, just check yourself and check in with yourself and see how you're feeling. So then that way when you're going throughout the day and you bump into somebody at the grocery store and they were really agitated and now all of a sudden you're grumpy at the cash register, you know that's not yours. You didn't wake up that day agitated. You have like a reference to go back to, and then it helps you just kind of be present again and just step back into yourself and be like, okay, that's not mine. Release it, let it go, on to the next. That's a really helpful tool that I use personally. That just kind of helps you be more aware of your own energy versus somebody else's energy.
Yeah, and also what I feel like has really helped me is doing like acts of self-care, like really like going into like taking care of yourself, doing things that make you feel really strong in yourself and grounded, whether that's like exercise, eating right, you know, talking to your friends, whatever that is, to build your own strength, because the more you can build yourself, the more you can hold your space and help others also feel better. If you're around someone who's feeling sad, or you know, if you're in a really negative situation, if you really build your strength and your self-confidence and you really tune into who you are, you can help others in masses as well. And that's like amazing, beautiful awakening. You're helping yourself, you're helping others, and
part of the Reiki meditation, part of the Reiki practice is to do a meditation in the morning and the evening. Because the mornings when you're waking up with fresh, new energy, you haven't been impacted by other people's energy yet. And the evening is when you may have a lot of other people's energy with you before you go to bed. So it's an intentional checking in and meditation where you just clear your head and you check in with your body and how you're feeling emotionally and how you feel physically, mentally, spiritually. So that you can have a baseline, like you said, check in with yourself in the morning. This is my baseline for today. Do I want to increase it? You have a choice to increase it. But then as you move along the day, noticing if you're moving off baseline and checking in with yourself on, you know, being mindful with mindfulness about whether you're shifting to one side or the other so that you can really center yourself again. And then in the evening, doing the same check-in with yourself by just meditating or clearing your mind and feeling, you know, remembering how you felt in the morning and remembering how you feel now. What's different? What's shifted? How did this day impact my energy? And centering yourself by releasing down grounding cords through the grounding process. So that when you go to sleep, you have a clean slate. So ideally, you'd wake up in the morning with a clean slate as well.
Yeah.
I think one of the most helpful meditations for me is calling back your energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you might have thought of 10 million things during the day and you're thinking about things, you know, maybe in the future or in the past that have happened, and your mind, your energy is still stuck there. So when you call it back, you're kind of like cutting those, I don't know, like cords of energy that you've sent out back into your body, and it really gives you an energy boost.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, it's really helpful.
Should we explain how that process works a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to explain that?
Well, I start with grounding.
Mm-hmm.
So let's walk through exactly what grounding is, because we didn't you
I
explained
kind of
this a little
explained it.
bit.
Head cord.
Okay.
Yeah.
The grounding cord. So the first chakra,
Yeah, your root chakra.
at
base
the
chakra.
base chakra.
Mhm.
So you want to imagine that as
At your tailbone.
tail. It could be at whatever size that you want it to be. It could be huge. It could be little. It could be made of anything.
Colorful, sparkly.
Some people imagine a tail. Some people imagine waterfalls. Whatever. Whatever works for you. And then you just imagine throwing anything that doesn't belong to you down that grounding
It's
cord.
like a garbage chute.
Just
Yeah.
get rid of it and just send it back into the earth so that it can regenerate and like get cleaned up. And then you
And that's just done through intention. You're just saying, I intend to throw these negative feelings or these thoughts that are not mine or that I picked up through the day out my garbage chute. With just intention.
just visualization. If you can imagine like you're eating an apple, if you don't have one, it's the same kind of imagination, right?
Yeah.
And then calling your energy back. I do it with like a golden sunshine above my head.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys do it that way too.
I do.
So you imagine calling all your energy throughout time and space into a golden sun above your head, and imagine it getting renewed and cleaned. And then as it grows bigger and bigger and bigger, you reach up, you grab it, and you bring it down your crown chakra at the top of your head, and have it go slowly down through your whole body.
I did this in my.
Yeah. So that's,
Good.
It's amazing how simple everything sounds,
Yeah.
but it works.
but it really works.
If you're sensitive to energy and you're an empath, you're going to feel a shift if you do these practices.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if it's, I mean, it can be subtle, but it's so powerful. Like even if it's just a small shift, and then the more you do it, the deeper that it really resonates, and you just want to do it all the time, and then you feel weird if you don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, like you feel dirty, like you need to take a shower. So it's very, very helpful, and definitely recommended if you're very clairsentient or very empathic, really sensitive. This is very beneficial, the tools.
Yeah, there's one more tool. So you can imagine if you're immersed in a sea of energy with a concert or family or any situation where you're really not liking the people you're around or you're not liking the vibe of it, you can imagine yourself calling your energy in and grounding, but also you can imagine like a very bright light of love surrounding you. That could be whatever color you want, but basically just feel like envision that it's this light that's filling in your auric space, and it's a loving energy, so that whatever does manage to get through your field can be transmuted into loving feelings instead of what they are externally coming into you. That can be really powerful too.
Like that. It's like a shield, a love shield.
Yeah.
But I have to, okay, so some people use mirror bubbles or they use bubbles, and this is where I kind of detour from what other people believe about
What
it.
do you mean about bubbles?
Like I've read in some books, some psychic development books, and I've also been instructed in certain classes to like imagine a clear bubble around me, like a bulletproof bubble. You know, like what's the
Like the boy in the bubble?
the witch from Wizard of Oz? She comes down in a bubble.
Oh, Glenda the Good.
Glenda the Good Witch, she has the bubble. So they say, like, imagine this bubble and nothing can penetrate it. But if you're sending up a bubble because you're afraid or because you're not wanting to attract energy, it's almost like you're putting up a wall and a defense, and that will actually attract. So like attracts like. So if you're acting out of fear or you're acting out of defense because you want to protect yourself, that can actually gravitate some of that bad stuff. So if you think instead of a loving light I'm surrounded in love and light and I am protected, that's a completely different mentality behind it than I'm imagining a bubble because I don't want anyone to come near me.
Right.
So just with the law of attraction, you know, it's like attracts like. So if you can come out of a place with love and light, you know, that's going to be a lot more protective, I think, than a bubble. Because even if the bubble's not penetrable, you can be surrounded by all the energy will be like coming to you because you're throwing up your shields.
Love holds the highest vibration, so if you focus on love and even make your intentions out of love versus fear, it's just very powerful and very strong for this type of work, or even just for everyday life, you know, anything.
Yep. Do we have any other examples or experiences that we have had in our lives personally?
I can think of relationships, but that's like a whole other episode we would have to do.
We can save that for another episode. But anything else that's happened to you? Any experiences or cool stories where you've used your clairsentience or your empathic abilities?
Oh. I can think of one that I'm sure every one of you has had before, like having a bad feeling before you go do something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just knowing that something bad's going to happen and then being validated that something bad did happen, and you feel like I should have trusted my gut. I should have listened to myself, but I didn't. And then something bad happened. Like, we all can relate to that.
Yeah.
That's the same sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Or just even for me, like going and seeing a person, like sometimes I'll feel like I don't think I should go there. I don't think I should go to that house. But if I end up going, something happens and I'm just like, oh my God, I knew it. Like I should not have. Or just, you know.
Do you mean
those
like
types of
they
things.
were really unhappy in the bad
Yeah,
place?
they were
or-
really unhappy, or something like negative happens, or just something goes crazy or something like that. But just, I always feel that, like, gut feeling, and it's like, listen to that. Or remember that time when we were trying to drive somewhere and you knew in your gut, I remember this, you knew in your gut, like, I should have, you know,
Taken a right. I should take a right,
done
but
that.
But
But the
Google's
GPS
telling me to
says
take a left, and I'm like, why is it saying left? I feel like I should go. I didn't know where I was going, but I was like, I feel like I should take a right, and it totally took us the wrong way.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I feel like we have those silly experiences, but that happens to all of us, and so,
And just trusting that intuition.
yeah, trust ourselves, trust our intuition, trust what the world, the universe, is giving to us, you know.
Yeah.
I know personally, with mediumship, clairsentience comes up a lot. I personally one time was in a bookstore, and I was there to listen to a lecture about a book that this author had coming out. And I was browsing the metaphysical section, and I was the only one in the section at the time. And then I was leaning over, and I felt this like thick, dense energy behind me. And I turned around, and I see a man standing there, and I kind of looked
Like
back.
a real
man.
Okay.
I look back, and I'm reading the books and everything, and then I look back again, and I'm like, really thick energy. I could feel that this person had a bunch of spirits connected to them. And so I turned around. Well, it ended up being the author that I was going to listen to that night at the bookstore. He's a parapsychologist, and so he
That's
dabbles
cool.
in all sorts of stuff like that. And so he had a friend of his that had, I guess, recently passed with him. But I could feel his energy standing behind me, and I could sense what kind of energy that was and what they were there for and everything else. And so that happens to me all the time, so I don't know if that happens to you, but clairsentience is used a lot when connecting with spirit.
Oh yeah, I
It's
feel
a
like we
huge
need
one.
to hit on that topic, like
Yeah.
with mediumship, with people that are aware of deceased loved ones or earthbound spirits. A number one way that they like to communicate to us is how they died, and sometimes they'll do that through showing you what it felt like when they were dying. Like you can suddenly feel like I hit my head, or I feel like I'm having a heart attack, or I feel like I don't know, I have a wound here, like I was shot or something.
Right.
Do you have any stories about
Right.
that?
Yes.
Put her on the spot.
They're not that pleasant, but yes.
Yes.
I mean, they connect with our nervous system, right? That's how they're trying to communicate with us. So they're trying to. It doesn't always have to be a negative feeling either. You know, if they're really joyous or really proud, you know, just loved you so much, you had that deep connection with somebody. They touch all those feelings and they use your nervous system to communicate it. I mentioned that earlier. And so yes, that's happened numerous times. And also just, you know, there was one time I was reading for a woman, and I can't remember it very well, but I specifically remember it was this woman's grandmother that had come through, and she held out a bouquet of flowers because it was her anniversary, the living woman's anniversary with her husband. And but just the love that came through for her to this person that I was reading for was so intense and so deep and really relatable, you know, to the experiences that I've had in my life with people that I love. And so just really beautiful connections. And I think Clairsentience is one of my favorite clairs for sure, because I just being able to feel that deep connection with another person, living or in spirit, is such an amazing thing, you know, to feel, and it's awesome. It really is. It's one of my favorite clairs.
I was just about to touch on that this is a gift. It is beautiful. Yes, you can pick up on negative things, and that's okay when you build your own self, or when you just like surround yourself in your own power and your love. It's beautiful. You can pick up on amazing things. You can pick up on, like, of course, love, the feelings, that motherly feeling, that, you know, just pick up on so many beautiful things. You can help someone by actually feeling what they're feeling, you know. You can relate with them, validating them. You know, even if you're in a place doesn't seem, you know, as kind of scary or negative, you can bring that energy up, and you can help people on such an intense, like, personal level, and that's really beautiful. I think it's definitely
it's very similar to like empathy, right?
Yeah.
Being empathic, clairsentience, and if we all were able to have empathy for each other, imagine what the world could be.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So like
Amazing.
my favorite Clairsentient. I always say it wrong. How do you say it? Clairsentient. I just call it my gut feeling, but my favorite feeling is in the work that I do, I feel the presence of people's loved ones, but I also feel the presence of their, what we would call guides or angels. And when someone's angel comes around, it is so intense. I feel like the energy from my head to my toe, and I get the chills all over my body, and it's the unconditional love, and it makes me almost cry every time, because it's just, you're washed in this absolute beautiful unconditional love that I can't explain. But when it happens, my client, whether they're in a hypnotherapy session or on the table for Reiki, they immediately become aware that there's an angel there, and they start to share the same feeling with me, and I get to bond with this unconditional love experience with someone else, knowing that that's their angel, and introducing them to this supportive energy that's been there always, but is able to, through the channel of having Reiki, be able to be aware and really feel that love that has always been there finally. And it's like no greater gift to feel that support and that energy. So such a high vibrational energy.
We'll have to talk about angels another time, because I feel like that's going to be a huge
That's
one.
a big one.
But feeling that with the feeling,
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
it's amazing. Like I'm getting the chills right now just talking about it.
I have a personal story about that really fast. Sure. Yeah. So I remember when I was like 6 or 7 years old, I was sleeping in my room, and I was feeling a lot of negative stuff around me, and I was really scared, and so I was like, I don't remember, I was like probably praying or just hoping that, you know, everything can go away, and all of a sudden I felt this being sleeping, like laying down right next to me, and my stepdad and I, and I just felt the immense love, and I remember knowing that this is an angel, and I felt so, like, I just released everything, and I just went to sleep. And I just, when you were talking about that, that just came up, and it's really, really powerful how you can, like, feel, like, you know.
So this is going a little off topic, but for empaths that feel like they're in a spiral of negative energy that they're never able to get out of, having a relationship with an angelic being, because you can call upon them at any time.
And everybody has one, right?
Everyone has their own angels. Calling upon them when they need protection or feeling really vulnerable, that energy just blasts all that crap out of your way, and it's an instant cleansing of your space. So I think it's really necessary for people that are feeling really vulnerable and feeling really overwhelmed with energy, to have a relationship and develop a relationship with the angels, because that's what they're there for, to really help protect us.
Yeah.
That's another really great tool.
Yeah.
Super important.
Okay. Well, I think this is a great first video discussion.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that we're all here together and that you guys are watching. We hope that this has answered some of the questions or kind of helped resonate for you some of the feelings and things that you're going through in your life. If you have any questions, you can leave them below in the YouTube
Comment
section or we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page, The Spiritual View. It's on both. So you're more than welcome to open a discussion on those sites as well. We're happy to talk with you about anything that you need some clarification about, or if you're just, like she said earlier, feeling stuck and overwhelmed with what's going on in your life, reach out to one of us. And
Or if you have a really amazing story,
share.
tell us your
Love to hear
stories.
stories.
This is the
That's
community.
awesome.
The idea is to create a community where people can really be open and talk about these experiences, because in this culture it doesn't always feel safe to.
Yeah.
People are really judgmental. They think a lot of this stuff is evil, or they have their own conceptions about it, and really we're just trying to hold space for people to feel safe to talk about it.
Yep.
This is
So
our passion. So
What's going to be the next topic for our next one?
So this is our first segment of a series of videos about all the different clairsenses. Our next one is going to be about clairaudience, and we will be recording that next week and be posting it as soon as we can after we record it. So pay attention to that coming out, and again, if you have any questions about clairaudience and you'd like to send them out before we record next week's video so that we can address those comments or those questions, please share them so that we can really address you, the audience, because you're really important to us.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you
so much. See you next time.
Bye.